recounted Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. On the feast of St. John the Baptist, a Spanish city was founded in the name of His Majesty on the banks of this river, with its proper judiciary and cabildo, as well as other officers of a commonwealth, and with the title of City of Manila. Hello everyone, my name is Margo Kamaya and welcome back to youtube.com/Margo Kamaya. You can also find me in TikTok. Handle name is Margo the Collector. I also have a website, thevisualtraveler.net, and you can also find me in Facebook, facebook.com/thevisualtravelerblog. Alright, okay, so for today's episode, it's all about Manila, My Manila by Joaquin. So to give you a short background on how this book came about, right? In 1989, maybe 1988, 1989, then Manila Mayor Mel Lopez, right, hired Joaquin to come up with a book all about the city of Manila. As per Mayor Mel Lopez, he said that whenever there were like visiting dignitaries or guests in his office in City Hall, he was a little bit embarrassed because he could not provide any gifts to the visitors. And the gift, he was, what he was talking about is that he could not come up with a book, a book about Manila and present it to the visitors. Actually, in the 70s, there was a book written by Carlos Quirino, which is now, or which was republished by Vebal, all about Manila as well. So I'm going to talk about that in another episode. But that's the story that Mayor Mel provided, and that's why he coordinated with Joaquin and the public school system in Manila to come up with Manila, My Manila. Right. So originally, this book that I purchased originally had a cover, and the cover art featured the Maynilad, the Maynilad, which is an indigo plant, as per Dr. Pardo de Tavera, in his 19th century book, scientific book, right? So, folklore or by history, they said that Maynila got its name from the Maynilad plant, which is an indigo plant. Right? Alright, so, anyway, originally there was a cover, and then I think when it was distributed to the different schools, public schools in Manila, they rebinded it into this blue cover, right? I bought this in December 2020 at the height of the pandemic, and I think I bought this for like 600 pesos plus of course shipping. I've seen the exact same copy being sold in Shopee for 1,500. It is up to you, dear viewers, right? Based on your assessment, if you find value in this book, is the price worth it, right? One thing that I would let you know is that copies of this book is very, very rare. That's why. So I was just very lucky that I was able to purchase this for 600 pesos. And yes, it is unfortunate that it didn't have the original cover. But again, this is more for my personal consumption, right? I'm not really a true book collector in the sense that I would be reselling my collection, right? But it's not. I don't earn from the books that I have, right? So it's really more for personal reading and for sharing through the means of social media. The things that I've learned while reading the books. Right? So anyway. Manila, My Manila by Joaquin. It's very, very rare. In the early 2000s, bookmark I think they purchased the rights to publish it, and they came up with their own version. But again, unfortunately, it's already out of print. I hope bookmark, wink wink, they'll think that it is again lucrative and timely to reprint Nick Joaquin's Manila, My Manila. Okay. Let's take a look inside the book. Okay. So the entire title is Manila, My Manila, A History for the Young. Right? Republic of the Philippines, City of Manila, 1990. And this is divided into five parts. So, Joaquin divided it into 5 parts. You have part 1, Season of Advent. Part 2, Days of Empire. Part 3, Era of Revolution. And then part 4, Time of a Second Coming. And part 5, The Freedom of the City. Right? So, this book encompasses the entire, well, not the entire, but the major highlights of the history of the city of Manila from the time of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi until 1990, which is the end of martial law, no? And then a little background about EDSA Revolution as well. Again, this is the product of its time. This book is a product of its time. The references, the sources of material, the bibliography that Joaquin used, it's also listed here. This is why I like books like this, because it lists its references and resources. So, of course, just to give you an idea of the books that he used for his research, you have Jocano F. Landa, right? Of course, Teodoro Agoncillo, the Blair and Robertson, The Philippine Islands, very, very thick book or volumes, which is available online. John Foreman's The Philippine Islands, which is again available online for free. You just need to search for it. You can check out UP Library online, and you can access the Blair and Robertson. I was able to access John Foreman, The Philippine Islands, again free. You also have J.A. Bowring, A Visit to the Philippine Islands. I also found it for free online. F. Yagor, Travels in the Philippines, also available online. And then, of course, you have Zaide, even Manuel Quezon's The Good Fight. What else? Who else here? And then, of course, Nick Joaquin's own book, which is Quartet of the Tiger Blue. So, a little about Nick Joaquin. As we all know, Nick Joaquin is a national artist for literature, right? He wrote several novellas, short stories, poems. He's also created a cornucopia of bibliographies of famous celebrities, politicians, right? He had a resurgence, no, during his 100th birthday in 2018 until now. There has been a resurgence of interest in Nick Joaquin. So that's why we're seeing a lot of Nick Joaquin's books being published and printed. And in the book market, the Filipiniana book market, his books are very sought after. Okay, so just to give you a glimpse of what are the chapters, no, or the topics that Joaquin included in this opus. You have, of course, let's see, calamities galore, right? So mostly earthquakes, the destruction of the early churches because of fire, during the late 1500s to early 1600s. Churches and other structures were built with wood. So definitely it's very fire, what do you call it, hazard. No? The hazards of fire was number one. Earthquakes, definitely. A lot of earthquakes happened during our history. And then, of course, also talks about San Miguel of the Nipponese, or of the Japanese. Japanese migration happened as early as the 1500s as well. It also tells the story of how the Palacio del Gobernador was created, right? Manila Extramuros, the turn of the century, but the turn of the century here is more of the 16th century. Student and people power of the 1872. Rizal's Manila. You also have Bonifacio's Manila. Revolution, the third fall. You have peacetime, all that jazz during the American period, right? And it also had the open city, the destruction of Manila during World War II. And then it goes back to the Marcos eras, as well as the Cory Aquino's regime, no? The early parts that it got covered, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's randomly pick a chapter and maybe just get some snippets, no, from it. Let's check out Bonifacio's Manila, which is Part 3, Era of Revolution, Chapter 7, page 115. I'm curious, what does it say? No? Okay, here. Tutuban used to be a teeming Nipa village on the banks of the Canal de la Reina, with a capilla of its own in honor of San Monica. In this Tondo barrio, Andres Bonifacio was born in 1863, the year of the Great Temblor. The Bonifacios were Spanish mestizos. Okay, curious. The dividing line between Tutuban and Binondo was a street called Paseo de Felipe II. Around 1871, the street was widened into a boulevard, lengthened beyond the Visoria to the seashore, and renamed Calle Azcaraga. It's now called Recto Boulevard. Well, now, in the 21st century, Recto Boulevard is called Recto Avenue. In mid-year of 1887, the village of San Monica was cleared away, leaving a swath of land sweeping northward to Caloocan. Bonifacio was then in his early 20s, and he must have been there when the great cleared space that had been his native barrio was decorated with palms, bunting, and banners for the inauguration of an epoch. On July 31st, the Governor-General of the Philippines, Don Emilio Terrero y Perinat, came to the erstwhile Nipa village, and in the presence of the elite of society, in a cheering multitude, laid the cornerstone of the first railroad station in the land. The country had entered the modern age, towards which it had been hurrying during the 1870s. Right? Nice. Okay. Like this. I love this chapter, no? Connecting Bonifacio to Tutuban, and then the first railroad station, and love it. And of course, who knew Bonifacio came from a Spanish mestizo family, right? So, again, of course, definitely, I do recommend this, but the problem is looking, no, of finding a copy of this book. It's all up to you. If you do find a copy of this, what's the value of this book to me? Is it worth 1,500 pesos? Is it worth 3,500? I've seen a copy with the real cover. I think it was the bookmark version, hardbound, selling for almost 500 pesos. Right? So, if you are, what do you call this? If you like researching, right? I can share with you the bibliography, and you can do your own research, right? That's one. But, of course, when you do your own research and you read it from the original resources, you lose the prose of Nick Joaquin, no? Alright, here. I hope it's clear. Again. Right. So, it's a triple threat, I would say. all about Manila, the history of Manila for more than 450 years. You get Nick Joaquin, the style and the writing of Nick Joaquin, and then third, all about history and culture, no? Triple threat. So, again, if let me know if you want to hear more about the book, like specific chapters of it. And I think that's it for me for now. So, Manila, My Manila by Nick Joaquin. Thank you for watching, dear viewers. I'll see you all on my next episode. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. Bye.